But that's the thing. I know a lot of people want to kind of overreact and jump the gun and say it's time for Pacquiao to retire. Well, I feel like they're missing out on the fact that Ugas deserves more credit.
The source.
I definitely feel strongly, first and foremost, just to put it out there. I definitely feel strongly about the fact that Pacquiao can still continue on if he wanted to fight as far as being a boxer. But obviously, there are a lot of factors that you need to consider, and there are a lot of adjustments and steps that needs to be done for that to be a possibility. Because obviously, if he half-asses it, if his priority really is politics and he's just using boxing as a tool, to be elected, you know what I mean? Like, that's not really the way to go, especially if he's trying to fight the best out there. But I know deep inside, like Manny says, he's a fighter. That was definitely a tough fight to watch for Pacquiao fans. But if you look at it closely, Pacquiao was definitely competitive. Obviously we're just so used to Manny being dominant. When you see him live and he's not getting his way the way he's done so in the past, you almost automatically assume, that he's not the same Manny Pacquiao. Although, yeah, he definitely looked slower and all that, but they did allude to the fact that he was cramping from the hamstrings down, both legs. And I know some people say that's an excuse and whatnot, but Manny Pacquiao is as honest as it gets as a person and as a fighter. This is not a type of guy who's about deception. He doesn't play games like that. Okay, I get it. He lost, and then he pointed that out. It does sound like an excuse, but it's not. It's real. Because even before the fight, they were working on his legs, and this has been a recurrent issue with Manny. Now, am I saying that's the reason why he lost? No, because Ugas would have given him the business regardless, because Ugas was definitely prepared for him. You know what I mean? Who knows if Ugas really took this as a last-minute thing. For all we know, he could have been preparing for Manny Pacquiao, or actually, he could have been. He's been studying Pacquiao because he always had that goal, anyway, that he was gonna fight Pacquiao. So they definitely studied Pacquiao a long time ago. So everything that Ugas did in the ring, that was not a product of 11 days of preparation. That's just his style, and it's hard to look good against a Cuban boxer anyway, because Cubans, they're defensive. They're great at counter punching. Name somebody that looked great against a lot of these Cuban fighters. Lomachenko against Rigondeaux, but that's a different story. But for the most part, think about, for example, Canelo. He didn't look great against Erislandy Lara. It's hard to handle that Cuban style, and that's why you don't really see a lot of these big names fight the top Cuban fighters. And a lot of boxing experts, Donaire said it was a close fight. A lot of people ringside said it was a close fight. And most of the people that were actually saying it was lopsided or Pacquiao should retire, most of them are the casuals. These are the guys who don't really follow boxing like that. You get what I'm saying? Like freaking ESPN guys, he should retire. You're like, shit, they don't know nothing about boxing, man. The man still looked good. He didn't get whooped. He got outboxed. He got outsmarted. I believe that he can definitely still fight. As far as just, you saw the work rate. Given he had cramps and whatnot, he still put in a lot of work. He was still there. And if you look at the judges' scorecards, he was doing well in the first few rounds. And it was just at the start of the 6th round that he was losing rounds. But if you think about it, the last 3 rounds, most of them gave it to Ugas. If Manny somehow got a couple of those rounds, it would have even been a draw, or Pacquiao could have still won a close decision. Like they're saying Manny Pacquiao looked like that because he's done. No, I mean Ugas made him look bad. Granted, there were a few things that we saw as far as Manny slowing down. His reflexes was there. We can assume that he's done and he's ready to retire because of that. But at the same time, I want to see it again. I want to be convinced because he was also out of the ring for 2 years, so ring rust is also a factor. We can't just assume he's just shot and he's just done. Because if you think about it, people have done this to Pacquiao before. Remember the Jeff Horn fight? How many of you and how many people on the internet were saying he should retire? And he looked old in the fight. But styles make fights. And what did he do after that? Right? What did Pacquiao do after the Horn fight? Whoop Matisse, convincingly beat Adrian Broner, did a hell of a job against Keith Thurman. So what am I trying to say? Am I saying he can easily rematch and beat Ugas and all that? No. But he's still good enough to fight. And if he tries again, and we actually see that he's not, after he's done the stuff that he needs to do to actually do good against Ugas, then at that time we can conclude that he is done. But as far as what I saw last Saturday, I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that he's done. But then again, only Manny Pacquiao knows that, right? Only he knows how he truly felt. Only he really knows the extent of how the hamstring and the calf cramps that he experienced during that fight. Only he really knows how much that affected him. Maybe deep inside he knew, or he knows that he's done. Then he'll just retire, right? So we won't even really need to talk about this no more because he knows in his heart if it's like a freak thing or whatnot. But they were saying that he might have overtrained, which is very possible.